All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Dororo.
Dororo. Episode 4.
Episode 4, yes. I always forget how many rows there's supposed to be. It's tough to keep that figured out.
Row your boat.
Row, fight the power.
Yeah. The two kinds of people in the world.
Touch the untouchable.
But the last episode we had a great, probably the best episode so far.
So far, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's not
really
saying much
good.
because, 3 episodes. So,
yeah, but
that was a great episode.
Such a good episode. And it was interesting because a lot of it was backstory.
Right.
And there's very little dialogue going on. We didn't even really get the name, I think, of the master or mentor figure guy. Who takes the mannequin, parts and attaches them to the
person who gave Hyakimaru his name.
Gave him his name is essentially like his father figure. In this story, and we saw how Hyakimaru recovered his first part of his body, which I love that it was just there all the time and I didn't notice it.
Right.
That he already had one of his legs back, and it's like...
Yeah, which helps explain how he moves the way he does.
Right.
And then we had Hyakimaru's biological father and how things sort of got to where they are in the present, and the other son and everything. Yeah. But also then the origin of how Hyakimaru came to go on his quest. So now get a little bit more of that quest, maybe? Or
Yeah, I think we're going to return back to form, maybe have a little bit more characterization from Dororo, and then have maybe the focus be about building the world slowly. Kind of like early Avatar Last Airbender style, kind of like a town here, a village there, a culture here, a monster type here. Maybe we get into what separates a little bit more demons from ghouls.
Sure.
Like the idea of how in the last the 2 episodes ago there was the whole thing of the demon that basically like changed the form of the monster lady, but then when she was killed the form reverted back. Remember that?
Right.
Yeah, and it was like, oh shoot, the horns in the front, that's a demon. That's a demon. But then it was like, well, the other thing, what was the... So
was the slime monster also one of those, or...
Yeah, so lots of stuff we could learn. So without further ado, y'all, let's get into this.
Oh boy. All right.
End of a war, stuff from the previous war.
There's so many different things that reference this. I guess...
Yeah.
I guess the executioner that's hesitant isn't exactly necessarily original to this, but but that whole scene just made me think of Sword of the Stranger.
Gotcha. Here it is. I'm so serious.
And you think it's gonna go into some crazy bass drop or something, but not quite.
I actually like this because it feels I don't know, it feels kind of more modern, and this show is so not so in terms of how it's a classic. In terms of how fun this OP is, it's super fun.
Oh yeah, I just okay, the headless flaming horses, how.
I think that's a potential interesting thing about, if there are demons, why can't there just be neutral spirits,
Sure.
And a cursed sword.
Okay.
All right.
I dig
Magic item. We all saw that. Hey, Hyakimaru. Oh, feeling the rain.
Yeah. I was wondering if they were going to go over that. Is it just pain, or is it feeling in general?
Wow. Oh. This reminds me of V for Vendetta. God is in the rain.
I've definitely done that before.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. So the brother was the one in the flashback, potentially?
Probably.
Oh!
Okay.
Wait. Oh, the blade. That's all that was read.
Nice.
The person wasn't shown. He could sense the intent of the blade.
I mean, I am a big fan of sentient weapons, so...
Oh.
Okay.
Oh my god.
All right.
I don't see a killer anywhere either. Oh, well, here we go. Whoa. The guy's eyes have no malice. There's nothing like in them at all.
You're just dead.
Wow.
He told me to. Yeah.
Oh.
Alright.
So he is telling the truth based on Hyakimaru's perceptions, right? Yeah. That's why he's not moving to kill the guy. He's just blocking his blade. Whoa! Nice. Oh! Oh. I literally was talking about this in the last episode, how the FMA thing of, eventually one of these would break, and we'll have to go find our... Oh, the sword went into the leg.
Yeah, No, what did he just say? What did he just say? Oh, boy.
No!
Oh, no! No way. Please no.
Wait.
That's her brother?
That's her brother. Crap.
And he's like, where's the sword?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is bad. This is bad.
Hey, well, this could be cool focus, though.
Okay.
Dororo.
Her brother's alive. All right.
Miraculously. Whoa. Oh, Dororo's in the resistance stage. He hasn't succumbed to it fully yet. Oh, crap.
These unnamed characters. Oh.
He can't even speak. Whoa. Oh, they've heard.
But hey, he didn't hurt the guy.
The thing I'm worried about is when it decides that, its master isn't suitable and just kills itself, Like,
although I think it just won.
Oh, it just won? Crap. His range on that thing is pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, crap, it's a town. This is where they were just at, yeah.
Now, it seems like he wants the sword to come back.
Well...
Like, it doesn't seem like something where he suddenly snapped to his senses. He's like, oh, thank God, it's gone. So yeah.
Yeah. Callus's blood and scars. Aww.
その度に兄上、こうして私に鶴を折ってくれたわね。そうすると途端に私も泣き止んで、ずっとこうして鶴を眺めてた。
And I think they showed that, didn't they, when he was told to execute the person?
Yep.
Yeah. Is he speaking to the sword?
Yep. On some level, the thing that I'm worried about is that he kind of, maybe he wants the sword to come back because he knows that it's a problem, and he can at the very least find a way to...
Okay. He's still attuned.
He won't kill him.
Well,
so then he tosses him the cursed sword and it makes him kill them all, though. Oh.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
That's messed up.
That is really messed up. So, yeah, it's stuck in there. It wasn't a clean cut. Oh. So did that curse the sword right there?
Maybe.
Oh, dang. Oh,
okay.
It hadn't awakened yet.
All right.
Oh, God. And the rust is literally getting cleaned off. That's a good name for a sword. That's a good name. And he's not done. Oh. And he spent so much time with it, he can actually sense it.
It's like Gollum with the ring.
Oh, because he senses him as a threat.
Yeah. He can't tell that it's him.
Because all people look the same, essentially. Yeah, they all have the same, neutral. Yeah. Oh. Wow.
Ouch.
This is a depressing world.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so he always intended to disarm him.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Awesome.
Now, I wonder if in Hyakimaru's vision, the sword still has a threat red kind of thing about it. Probably would, right? Yeah. Yeah. I think this is gonna end with him killing himself with the sword.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no. No, don't go out there. Please don't go out there.
That would snap him out of it, though.
Oh, that is smooth. Oh, I love sword fights in the rain. Any kind of environmental effects going on with it.
Neither of them can hear you.
Wow, you're right. Oh. Oh. Oh, and he broke the sword in half. Okay.
Well, now it's all rusted over again.
Yeah. Whoa.
I guess it was tied to its life force, to his life force.
And she made a crane. She made a paper crane. That's the second one there. Hoping that he would come back and... Yeah, this is a depressing world.
I mean, at least he died with a smile, but what's he getting this time? Hearing?
Wait, the sword was something?
Yeah.
Oh my god,
yeah,
hearing. That would be terrifying to go from hearing nothing to suddenly hearing everything.
Well, and the first thing to hear is the sobs of the sister of the person he killed.
But that's what also the rain is so beautiful here for, is that the rain provides this ambient, like...
When he gets his arms back, he's going to have to learn a whole new way of fighting.
That is true. That is true.
I mean, he was able to fight just fine with the wooden sword before, but...
I'm curious what's going on in his head right now, because if he thinks that it's Hyakimaru, like, his kid, and he's searching for the midwife that supposedly was supposed to drown the kid, or get rid of Hyakimaru. Like, what he thinks Hyakimaru is actually able to do with his whole, seat of power,
Maybe it's something where he just has a feeling that this is all Hyakimaru, Which is great, because since he doesn't actually know, it's in a way like Hyakimaru is haunting him if Hyakimaru was dead.
Right.
Because
it's all tied back to the original decision to, sacrifice the kid.
Yeah.
So,
and even though he knows that the midwife didn't kill Hyakimaru,
right.
You would assume that Hyakimaru just died, right?
Right. How could a child like that survive?
Exactly.
Right. So there's going to be that big moment where Hyakumaru returns, and however much of Hyakumaru is restored, either way, what's his name? Shoot, I forgot his name. But anyway,
the father.
The father's just gonna have this moment of just like, and he'll flash to see the kid's face over his, and then it's gonna be
it's gonna be great.
All right, okay. This is a depressing world. I said it like 2 or 3 times, but I'll say it again. Like,
makes sense that Berserk drew a lot of inspiration from here.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So we have our little episodic story.
Mm-hmm.
We have a cursed sword possessed probably by a demon.
Mm-hmm.
Nihiro. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if there's any specific easy translation for the name Nihiro. It sounds kind of
there
like
might be
nihilism kind of
right,
thing
although there probably isn't necessarily a
direct one-to-one thing there.
Different languages. But
Hyakumaru restored his hearing,
which is huge.
Which is one of the most important senses anyone could have.
Now, I'm curious if he can talk at this point, because it could be that he was able to talk beforehand and he just didn't because he couldn't hear himself.
Or he might not have even seen the point of making sounds, because he can't determine when he's making a sound or when he's not making a sound.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
He might now start making the noises of a deaf person who's...
someone that's now beginning to speak, and when he and if and if he hasn't recovered his speech already, when he does recover his speech, is it going to be something where he will then have to be taught words? Like, because the thing is that he might have to. Like, that's a very decent possibility, because he hasn't been able to hear this his entire life.
Right.
He has so.
But there's another thing in that, since he's getting his hearing back first. That will help him understand language.
That's true. That's
earlier
true.
before he learns to speak.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, I think him speaking should happen at the as close to the end as possible, because it'll be way more impactful when you hear him speak. If you basically have it where he's already thought about the words that he's going to speak for a long time.
Oh yeah, well, like to his dad, imagine
to Dororo.
Sure. Yeah, well, and I'm really excited to see how they continue to explore that dynamic between the two of them, with Hyakumaru recovering more of himself, and Dororo and him being able to connect on a deeper level because of that.
Yes.
I am very excited, though, for when, I'm sure it's going to happen, where he gives that chilling line to his father. He comes back and his father's like, Masaka, impossible, his demons have finally come back to pay a visit, right?
Yeah.
In Hyakumaru. And then he speaks.
Yeah.
And he'll have something suitable, planned for then.
It'll be a perfect opportunity for me to use the words haunting visage.
Yeah.
Because it's actually something that we'll see instead of something that I'm sure the father kind of imagines, because the vision of the child in his mind is probably something weak and frail, but just seeing that eyeless, mouthless, noseless, skinless.
I mean, that's a scary picture, and I could definitely see it being a thing where, Hyakumaru shows up, and maybe he doesn't recognize him, but then when he finally realizes it, there's like a flash, superimposition of the child's face over his. Yeah.
Okay, so Cursed Sword. I love that it. This is a very good, easy way to instigate some good conflict. You don't have to go super in-depth into the whole thing of the sword. The idea of having the brother who goes off to war as a samurai, but he doesn't come back. He didn't come back for a long time, not because the war ended, recently, but because he then went and
kept feeding the sword,
which I think that we could read into this with some interesting meta commentary about the idea of the cycle of violence, and that violence begets violence, and that in some ways it's not just the sword or just the samurai. It's the combination of the two. It almost reminds me of a line that Jorah says in Game of Thrones. And it says, "There's a beast in the heart of every man, and it stirs when you put a sword in his hand." It's something that, while I think it puts more of the emphasis on the person, that the person has the darkness inside them, But when they get that ease of access to dispense that darkness out, it becomes something that goes, oh, I could be powerful here.
Yeah, because this is a fantastical show, even though it does the fantasy elements in a very, subdued, sort of more horror kind of way.
Right.
It's an actual cursed sword, but you could just as easily have had the cursed sword be someone who just discovered that they were really good with a sword, and then suddenly might makes right, all those things that maybe they hadn't been able to do before now.
Like the villain in Sword of the Stranger in a lot of ways. We've seen a couple of connections to that whole aspect of how like Sword of the Stranger probably took a lot of reference to Ronin type stories, and Dororo is probably one of the most influential ones in the fantastical realm for back then, because I think this manga was in the 60s. Like that's how old it is.
Because I believe this is a 50-year anniversary, right?
Oh, that makes sense now.
This is a 50-year anniversary.
Oh, gotcha.
So and I'm not sure if that's of the original anime or of the manga.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But either way, like I can't imagine that the anime, the first anime, would have come out much after the manga.
Right. So this is like a spiritual reboot in a lot of ways. What like did with Megalobox and Devilman.
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Now,
so do you think that this was more of a just kind of a simple episodic thing, or are we supposed to look at more of the character stuff or more of the world building stuff here?
I think mostly characters.
Okay.
Because while it was an episodic episode, it did focus very much on the characters, right? Like the whole thing with the sister and especially the two cranes at the end, like that after credit scene, like because the thing is that when her brother finally died, he died with a smile on his face.
Yeah.
Now, he was said to have been smiling before, when he was killing people anyways.
Right.
So,
that's a good point.
So, like, I feel like, one, it's left ambiguous, so it's up to the audience's interpretation.
Right.
But this show also, like you said, has a very dark world. So how dark do we want to draw, like, do we want to draw conclusions from of what we've been given?
Yeah.
Because, like, I could have seen it being something where it's like, okay, he, like, right before he died or as he was dying, he, like, the sword abandoned him or something, I don't know, whatever, and he had that last moment of freedom somehow before he left this world.
I could easily interpret it as just that the sword was broken and he didn't die immediately.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
right. And I'm not entirely sure whether it was supposed to be that the sword broke and that caused him to not be able to block the stroke and he died, or whether it was that, like, because it seemed that, okay, the sword caught on the arm and then pulled the arm off, so the sword was past it, and then he slashed through and slashed the guy. So is it something where the sword broke because the guy was mortally wounded, or if that makes sense?
All I know is that the sword broke before the guy was killed. That's my interpretation of
Okay,
it.
Gotcha.
Which means that there was a moment, even if it was only the time it took for the sword to break the blade and then cut through him, where he was himself.
Right, and then hence the two cranes being together at the end. Because there was Okay.
Oh, sorry, keep going.
Well, the idea that that she was maybe able to get her brother back right at the end. The other thing that I was wondering about is if this was something where, and they didn't like, this is 100% conjecture.
Okay.
But that that she ended up killing herself afterward, and that her and her brother are together in death, basically.
That's possible.
Because she doesn't have any family left at this point.
Yeah.
And they didn't show her at the house. Like, the house seemed empty and stuff. So, I mean, it could just be that she wasn't there, but I don't know.
There is a real possibility that is the case. I do think that they left it open to interpretation because the point is not about where she ended up, but the fact that when he left to go find Nihiru, she made her own crane.
I think there were two cranes before that happened.
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then maybe what it is that she took the two of them and basically just you know, made another wish, like, please bring him back. And at the very least, what they're saying is that she was reunited with her brother in some way, in a spiritual way, in a metaphysical way, in the way that
in that last moment,
yes, or in death, like you're saying. So all of those I'd say work, but I like that they gave us the end credit scene with a positive air with regards to the setting, the presentation, and such. So it makes it, at the very least, feel that even if it was in death, it's a happy joining. You know, it's a happy reuniting. It's something where the reuniting did happen.
Yeah.
And that is at least what she wanted. Like, the way she describes it, because her character's motivation and his are very simple because they can only be given in like 4 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, it's a single episode where they're not the main characters.
Yeah. So she just wants him back so that they can live in basically peace together like they did in the past.
Right. And
in some ways, if she was to die, then they would be together in peace.
Yeah.
But not exactly like they were.
But then if she's alive, you could do the angle that she was able to get her brother back in that last moment, and because of the smile, she knows that. And then he was able to find peace, and that was the only way that he was able to find peace, is in death. You know.
You think that maybe him feeling the call of Nihiro is also something where he's like, please, I know that if I stay with this sword, that I will get my just I will get what I justly deserve for, you know, my past, and therefore I can finally live in peace, because he's like, the shame, the horror of all this stuff that I did is too much, to the point that I can't even really look or even receive like love from my sister.
Well, here's another way to think about it.
Okay.
The hero is coming for him.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
He leaves his sister. Did he leave his sister because he wanted to be reunited with Nihiro, or because he didn't want Nihiro to come anywhere near his sister?
Yeah, I don't buy that exactly, because I think he would have taken Nihiro out of the town, like try to lead it away. Like, he would have realized that Nihiro will come for him, and they would have gone away from his sister.
Okay.
So I think if anything, he came back trying to see if he could get some redemption by reuniting with her, but he realizes that he's too broken inside in order to feel anything about it.
Right.
So
and that's one of the beauties of having an episode like this that is so standalone. Like there's the stuff with Hyakimaru and Dororo and everything, but as far as the story of the sister and the brother, it's so standalone, and the thing is that it's so relegated to just one, like, you know, half of the episode or something, let's say, right? That there is so much that can be interpreted about it.
Right, because the plot is basically meaningless. It's all the themes, basically.
Right, exactly.
However do we want to interpret the themes, and how it relegates back to Hyakimaru, the overall conflict, and the themes that we've set up thus far. Ooh, here's another thing. The sword is a stand-in in a way for the father, and the brother is a stand-in for Hyakimaru, in a way that the son, Hyakimaru, was basically cursed, given a thing that overrode all, like, overrode all his choices, and basically relegated him to this life of violence, where he now has to fight things that he perceives to be, you know, well, they are demons, basically, but he lives a cursed, senseless existence because of something that was basically stolen from him, or a way that something that came in and overrode his choices.
Right, like the Lord in the case of the brother.
And you caught on to it so well with the thing of how they both can't hear. When she's like, please stop. And he's like, oh, they both can't hear. And I'm like, oh, that's so genius. Yeah. Because it's not just the rain that drowns out the sound for us. It's the actual, like, combatants that are so senseless to this whole thing that they couldn't hear it. And what is gained back? Hearing.
Right.
That's
it's very fitting.
That's good.
And I love that they had the whole thing of Dororo getting the sword and then Hyakimaru needing to fight him, right?
Yes.
Because we're not entirely sure, like we would hope, that Hyakimaru isn't going to hurt Dororo, because it very much seemed like he wasn't. I mean, well, okay, he did throw the brother off a cliff, but it very much seemed like he was not fighting to kill, right? Even though that's what he ended up needing to do with the brother, which also sucks. But It was this great thing of basically where you had the struggle on both sides. Now, we didn't necessarily see the struggle from Hyakimaru because we don't know his thoughts and what's going on in his head, right?
Yeah.
But there's this perceived idea of, that I didn't think they were going to do necessarily of, wait, can Hyakimaru actually tell that it's me? Yeah. Right? And it makes sense that he would with spirit vision or whatever. You would hope that it's not like they're absolutely identical or or whatever, because how would he tell the difference between, like, I don't know.
It's probably a size thing.
Sure, yeah.
It's like, this one's short and this one is
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and then at the same time, Dororo trying to fight the sword, but then also make sure that he doesn't die at the hands of Hyakimaru.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how their conversations change, because now, even if Hyakimaru can't speak, he might be able to, but I'm guessing probably not. Like, since he
can give nods now, right, in response to the words. Exactly. He can shake his head.
Right. We can see the ways that what Dororo says has an effect on Hyakimaru. Right. We can see how he responds, even if it's nonverbal. Yeah. And I love that. I love that so much.
I do hope, though, that they slow down a little bit on the important senses being returned, because I actually want more time
with the limited
parts of it. Now, I understand that by episode 4, if they didn't have him at the very least be able to understand basic communication, it might get old.
Yeah.
So this is a good choice to have of all the other communication based senses.
Yeah.
Sight, you don't need to bring that back anytime soon.
And again, even if
speaking, you don't need to bring that back.
Well, but even if they do, they don't have to bring it back fully all the way, because he can have to learn to speak, right? He can talk, but he doesn't necessarily fully understand, because he hasn't even been able to hear until now.
Sure.
And that could be another way to get into the chaos of actually the fact that, like, it's not some simple just, get the part back and everything's fine, right?
Right.
There's a process to it, because you've never had this before.
Yeah.
Like it's not like he had it and then, and then lost it, like, I don't know. Something else, right? Like he made some sacrifice and gave up all those parts about himself, when he's 12 trying to resurrect his mother or something,
yeah. But there's also opening up a lot of stuff for interpersonal conflict now, actually, between Dororo and Hyakimaru, because Hyakimaru now will be able to understand what Dororo is saying.
Sure.
So that's just gonna I don't know, maybe open up some interesting storylines that we just couldn't have before.
And I gotta say, I love the choice, like the little tactical choice of basically only fighting with the one blade.
Oh yes.
So that like it's like, oh,
they don't know. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then just being like, okay, yeah, I'll just fight with one blade, and eventually there will come a point where brilliant, just brilliant.
Yeah, there was some really clever stuff that they hadn't done so far in the show by showcasing the sword fight animation, which was really good for when they were using it. There were no repeated moves. There was a lot of clever usage of the mannequin body parts.
Yes. And the part when they're back to back, that was just so awesome. Like because that would feel so terrifying to be back to back with someone that has a sword that's trying to kill you, right? But you also have a sword and you're trying to kill them. But you can't just try and like stab or whatever, because all sorts of bad things could happen there. Right. And it's like
you can't just immediately back away because you give them information about where you're going.
Well, right. Yeah. And then they could just turn around and slash you as you move or whatever. So it's like this. It was like this. And I know nothing about sword fighting, right?
Me neither.
But it's like this brief, like, Eye of the Storm kind of a thing, where all the craziness happens, and then there's this moment of calm that might last for just a tiny little bit of time, but it's there.
They did that a couple times in Avatar: The Last Airbender with bending fights, but also specifically Jet and Zuko's fight in Book 2.
Yes.
And it was...
I love that part.
That's probably one of the only sword fights, really, in Avatar: The Last Airbender, because they don't like to use weapons because, TBY7.
Exactly.
But in a story like this one where things are a lot darker, having this moment where you have... basically the honorless swordsman. Like, I don't know if you guys kind of vibe with me, But the idea that in this kind of time period and culture and stuff, I'd say the idea of a duel was something that might have been a thing of honor. Someone that basically decides, I'm going to lay it all on the line for the opportunity to have a fight with you, and let's share names, let's, acknowledge each other.
Oh, okay.
But in this case, no, this is in the rain and the mud to essentially kind of
it's not
nameless, senseless,
it's not like
broken inside.
Right.
Swordsman just
there were no gauntlets thrown. Not they would have gauntlets, but there was no there
was no glory in this.
Right.
There was no
noon tomorrow.
There was no transcendence in this.
Right. It's
It was cold and and it ended in a So hey, we got a lot of actual discussion out of a episode just about a cursed sword.
I mean, it was a good episode.
It was a good episode. Yeah. So there's a lot more potential now with where the story's going as he's opening up more of his senses, and as the father starts to potentially question what is actually going on. Right. And I want there to be more of that kind of indirect calamity stuff, like that mud flood kind of thing that happens as he's basically like, something's coming undone. Why is this happening? Why are the things going on? Where's the child? That something went wrong. Like maybe on some level it's the thought of like, wait, was the child not actually sacrificed? So a lot of cool things potentially. So y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction discussion right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us about these stories, about anime in general, or just get involved in the community stuff happening there.
Yep.
And also, you could potentially talk with Jacob about his awesome book he just published.
My sci-fi novel, Battle Lines, is available for purchase on Amazon currently. The link is in the description below. It's a pretty great story. You should check it out.
Yeah.
Leave a review.
So if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.